We got ourselves team 1 with, oh, we got ourselves Devil Plox. We got ourselves Scarlet. We got ourselves Rouser with Callous Heels. Never got to play last time in Chicago's Enhancement versus team 1 with Muda Ox with Matux. And we got Zuen Cutie here with that. Oh, I like the enchant. Repping the enchant. Lazy Kitty, please be out of cat form unless you're doing. We got a guy named Ass Hammer. That's my favorite, dude. We got Milord Pala. Looking regal as always with the artifact weapon to match. Artifact weapon to boot. Looks like team 1 is still figuring out who's going first or last. But team 2 is ready. Yo, guys, just let Lazy Kitty know. Yeah, there we go. Just out of cat form, out of stealth, unless you're dueling. There is a buff that you're probably running as an honor talent pack leader. That one can give everybody else a heal. And for 5v5 1v1 Duels, that one's kind of hard to balance. So we just have people be out of cat form, out of stealth. Plus, out of stealth, so you know who you're dueling. Because let's say for the team is a bunch of rogues and ferals, and all of them in stealth, you don't know which one you're dueling. Gonna be Devil Plox, getting hit with a Hodge immediately by Milord Pala. Going for that Shield of Vengeance. Gonna be a Trinket for Human Racial out of Devil Plox with the Cloak of Shadows. Milord Pala going for that Kyrian heal immediately. Devil Plox trying to maximize the damage. Cheap Shot won't have the 100% crit, and Milord Pala is feeling pretty safe about it. Devil Plox goes in for a blind, looking for a reset. It looks like he's gonna get one, and it looks like Devil Plox also burned a human or the Kyrian heal, most likely. Devil Plox is 1 and Milord is 5. That'll work out for me. And Devil Plox opener was disrupted by that Trinket from Milord Pala. Might have to bob the next one. Next opener by Devil Plox, he still has a vanish. So this was a blind reset. Next could be a vanish and reset. Is going to get an opener onto Milord Pala. Do we see a bubble or a bop? And Milord Pala's hoping no Shadow Blades here. Maybe I'll be okay. He lives it. Didn't see Shadow Blades. It wasn't an issue. Hodge onto Devil Plox. Might be enough damage here. Evasion's up for Devil Plox. Can't maximize it though. And Milord Pala going for a mix of healing as well as damage. Big damage on Devil Plox with advantage to follow. There goes the Sippy Cup trying to heal him back up. And Milord Pala did have to burn a lot of damage there. That was full set of wings just now. And Devil Plox will be coming back with Shadow Blades this time. So Milord Pala, and he's going to pick up the eyes, not letting the rogue get the opener, slowing him down. Shadow Step coming in, losing the crit buff, trying to maximize the damage, still doing a lot of hits, even without 100% crit, just hoping for that crit. Bop available for Milord Pala. Prox can't really do much about it. There goes the Kyrian heal, I believe, right now. Hodge by Milord Pala, maximizing damage, does get a nice good proc with a Kyrian Paladin with a bunch of judgments flying in. Devil Plox has sprint, but not a lot afterwards. Sippy Cup coming in, Milord Pala just trying to keep him in combat as best as possible. If Plox can go for a Hodge and a Milord, catch himself a reset, I think that's what he's trying to go for. If he can do that properly, he might be able to catch a much needed reset. Bubble still available for Milord Pala. And Prox is in stealth, getting himself lots of pox. Lots and lots of healing right now. Milord Pala could go for the second set of eyes, try to get the rogue out. Does have a Trinket coming back up. So far, Devil Plox so far has had a really good setup. Really good play. Milord Pala has been... Oh, Hodge around the corner. Devil Plox does not have a Trinket for it. There goes the Judgment with a Trinket coming up for Pala. And Pox looking to get the hell out of the Sippy Cup. Cloak of Shadow sprinting out of the way. Milord Pala does not have the mobility to catch up by the looks of it. And that's going to be yet another resell for the rogue. Every time he catches a resell, it's going to be scary. And looks like he might just go for the long game. The eyes have been burned. And he's just going to have to wait for more CDs. Shadow Blades have been used, I guess, in the last go. So that's going to be the big go gone. Cold Blood available. Evasion coming up very, very soon. Vanish available in 18 seconds. So it's going to be very, very interesting how that's going to go about. If he's even going to open up. You might just have to wait for more CDs, honestly. Milord Pala is just going to maybe have to wait for the eyes at this point. Does try to get an opener. Does get the Cold Blood Trinket for Milord Pala immediately. No Trinket available for proc just yet. Wings available. Does get the proc with the Judgments from Kyrian. Blind into Milord Pala. Could bubble it. Does he go for it? I don't think he goes for it. Because the box does have advantage. So that's a good move not bubbling there. But might have to bubble this next go. Especially as Milord Pala isn't at 100% health. This could be really bad, really sketch. Cheap Shot. Shadow Sticks are flying. Milord Pala not going for bubble just yet. Does bubble as his health dips low. And that's going to be that Wake of Ashes. I don't think it's going to get the rogue out in the open. Milord Pala should be able to catch up on the healer too. Might need to pre-shield the Vengeance here. Nope. He actually was able to maximize his health at least to full. Won't have a Trinket. If Prox gets a very, very lucky go here for some kind of a crazy proc for damage, Pala looks like it's not going to consider that stun at all. Looks like maybe Prox came up a little bit early with a stun. Hodge the Prox should have a human racial. Does have it. Evasion coming out, get himself the Sippy Cup ready. But not facing Milord Pala isn't helping him on evasion at all. And as long as Milord Pala is right behind, the rogue should be a-okay. I think he's just trying to see if he might be able to get himself a reset. I think he needs to go for a kidney shot on Milord Pala and then go around the corner. Marfardas is there. Pala just running by on the horse, hitting him with Templars. That's going to be a dance available for procs. Sprint available. Does Milord Pala have a way to reconnect? Hand of Freedom. Does he have a judge maker throw around the corner? He does not. And I think the eye should be available soon. One eye is up. We're at the 5-minute mark. Milord Pala going in for the second set of eyes. And if he can get the rogue out somehow. Cloak of Shadow is all the rogue has. Blind not available for a while. Sap, no way out of it though. He's gonna have to wait it out. Prox has him in a good spot. So Prox has ways of resetting. He can go for big damage, going for the sap, goes for big shadow strike with a Hodge from Milord Pala. Knows that the rogue will not be able to go for a proper opener. Should be realizing the rogue is gonna have to go for a blind or advantage. Does going for a blind, but Milord Pala does catch up on health. Trinket still in hand. Prox should have went for a cheap shot. I feel like shadow strike is not the play because immediate Hodge out of Pala just prevents it. And should be able to get a go. Milord Pala does have Bop in 22 seconds. So he's going to have CDs coming back to play with against Pox right now. Cheap shot. Trinkets out of it. Hodge to Pox. Does not have the human racial. So Milord Pala is going to try to see if he can punish him. Does get the hammer proc, I believe. With Tempest Verdicts flying. And that's going to be maybe a stun out of Pox. Looks like he's going to sprint the hell out of it. Does Pala have the mobility? It looks like he wasn't able to pony up and Hand of Freedom together. Pox with that sprint is able to bail out. Didn't have to burn a Vanish. Didn't have to burn a Blind or nothing. Blind wasn't on cooldown, but it's going to be Vanish for later. So he's actually getting proper resets. Milord Pala just having a really hard time holding the rogue down. Is going to get him out of stealth. That's denial of that stuff. Of that 100% crit. That's going to be Cloak of Shadows being burned by the rogue. Next Hodge could be pretty bad for him. Hopefully he has a human racial for it. Hodge, does he have the human racial? Does have it. Kidney shot on Milord Pala. Does he bop it? Looks like he's going to play it very safe. And Pox is going to go for a reset. If only Milord Pala could maybe get some kind of a long-term down into Pox, he might be okay. But that's rough, man. It's so much back and forth. And I feel like the spiller in the middle gives the rogue such an advantage. Pox going for a restyle. Probably going to go for a sap. Milord Pala does get him out. He's going to go for a vanish. And he probably will have to go for... Actually, maybe he doesn't have to go for a go. Maybe he doesn't. Pala still can see him though. It is going to force the rogue out in the open. Bop and bubble available if necessary. It is going to bubble this. Pox has nowhere to go right now. Unless he can go for a blind. Blind might be the play here. Blind might be the play. No trinket available for Milord Pala. Hodge, does he have a go here? He needs to have a big go right now. Otherwise, that blind is going to get him. And it looks like it's going to be another reset by Devil Pox. Unless someone keeps him in combat. That's just going to be an easy go. Man, the resets in a 1v1 for the rogue. I mean, he could just keep doing this over and over. If Milord Pala, dude, Paladins just have so much burst together. They used to just one-shot people. But with Milord Pala, see, I think he's doing something different for his burst. I haven't seen Final Verdict, so maybe he's doing something different for his playstyle. He's going to try to get an opener cheap shot. Pala is going to go for a trinket. Shield of Edges, pop it back into Pox. Milord Pala does have wings available. I don't know if it's middle long wings or what. Hodge to Devil Pox. Does he finally have it here? This is a little bit of damage, and you might just be able to do it. Cheap shot to get onto Pala, and he's going to go for a Blessing of Protection, slowing the rogue down. The rogue can't really go anywhere. I think it's going to be done and done. That was such a back and forth over and over between the Paladin and all those cooldowns and the rogue with the resets. Got to give the rogue the credit with the resets. But Scarlet is going to be next. Still sticking to his guns as Frost. I really want to see Frost do well, by the way. I really want to see Frost mages do well in duels and in PvP in general. I'm hoping more Frost mages will be around. Double Polymer just to make sure he does get the opener from Milord Pala. Hit him with the Ring of Frost so he doesn't go anywhere. Mirrors the Torment in the opener. So Pala is eventually going to get silenced and rooted. This is going to be really bad for him in the future. Big Ebb and Bold. Pala is having to go for a lot of self-heals. There's going to be lots of shadows of the Pala with the Frozen Orb right next to him. Trying to see if he can walk to Scarlet. Trinket coming out for Scarlet immediately. I think human racial. That's going to be all the time. Pala does get hit with the silence. No root because Hand of Freedom keeps him running. But the silence was quite deadly for a second there. But the final hit from the mirror. As Mirror's Torment is quite a bit of damn. And Scarlet still continued to hit him with shatters left and right. There's going to be a Polymorph with some Frostbolts for freebie. Actually, kind of hoping to reposition closer to Milord Pala, I think. It's going to be 10 minutes into this duel, 33% dampening. We are going to start seeing Milord Pala struggle with self-heals. Scarlet does still have 2 ice blocks available. And a lot of the other defenses still should be relatively close off CD, like all the time. And of course, there's the shields. The shields are huge. Plus, if he's running a conduit where in ice block he heals, that could be a nice reset for a Frost Mage that you normally don't get to see. Hodge to Scarlet doesn't have a way out of it. Does position the pet though in case. And that's going to be a freebie polymorph to Milord Pala. Won't be able to enjoy that Hand of Freedom for too long. That's going to be Frozen Orb and a bunch of shatters with an Ebon Bolt. Trying to go for big Comet. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to hit the Comet Storm down. Root onto Milord Pala. A little bit late. Probably should have combined it together, the Root as well as the Comet together. Shadowlands and Pala got himself some damage rolling. Scarlet looking for a Ring of Frost. That's going to be Milord Pala. He's going to have to find himself a better angle to fight against Scarlet. His free shadows coming out with Mirrors of Torment to follow. Glacial Spike trying to come out. Does he get the big root? The Spike just couldn't make it. Big alter time for Scarlet. Does go for Ice Block. Does not have the heal in Ice Block. Is going to have to remove it immediately. That's going to be Doorway to Shadows. Trying to see if he can get around Milord Pala. Does get hit with a Silence, but does land the Rebuke on Doorway to Shadows. And I think that's going to be one dead mage with Final Judgment. Somebody just left from team 2, I think. Was it Chicago? Very unfortunate. But next is going to be Cassie Heals. Does go Callus Heals? Oh, Callus Heals. Does go for Rudo to Milord Pala. Big damage out of that Star Search just now. We're hitting the 12-minute mark. I don't know what happened to Chicago. Did they get DC'd? AFK'd maybe? Maybe expecting for the Monk or the Boomy to maybe take the game? Because it might have needed you, fam. Unfortunate. Would have to play this game out. With Callus Heals up next was Milord Pala. Milord able to get mounted up and stay ahead of Callus Heals quite easily as a Paladin with extra movement speed. Callus trying to see if he might be able to get some dots at Milord Pala. The faster you can get those dots up and running, the better, because the damage is quite significant. Let's get some freebie flashlights from Milord Pala, but a 46% dampening. It's really starting to wear. Callus Heals does go for a root. Convoke Spirits available. Going to be a Hodge on Milord Pala. And Callus Trick inside of it. Thorns available. Trying to go for as much damage as he can. Back to Milord Pala. Big Star Surge is coming out with Incarnation. But that was Bark Skin. That was Thorns. That was a lot of defenses together. Is going to have himself backflips away from Milord Pala. Still continue to slap him with Star Surges. Every single one of the Star Surges just hurts. As we are hitting that 50% dampen in just a mere moments. And Milord Pala self-heals, and mana is just not looking all that good anymore. Might have to go for a set of wings and maybe start using all the holy powerful Word of Glories at this point. Try to go for a go with a Hodge of the Callus. No Barskin available. Might be able to get him low enough. Big Templars coming out. Does he have the final hammer necessary? He does not just yet. Callus going down the stairs. Does he have the final global? It looks like the Blade of Justice finishes him off with Rouser up next. Milord Pala has Bubble, wings already rolling, trying to go and use those wings to maximize the heal with the mana. Not a lot of mana that he really has. Shield of Vengeance not available, so Bubble and Trinket is the only thing he has to work with. So Rouser is going to have to find a way to deal with this. Is going to go for a big port play off of the mound. Milord trying to see if he might be able to slow him down. Might be a Trinket out of him into a Hodge. Rouser does not Trinket. And Rouser is saving that human ratio for later. Only burned one set of images, so he has another charge of images available if necessary. Images being Storm, Earth, and Fire. But call them images because they're like mage images, just more effective. Big kicks coming out for Rouser with a spin crank kick right after. Milord Pala is going to have to go for self-heals. Trying to generate as much holy power just to maintain himself. Is going to have to bubble it out. And Rouser did get a pretty massive cooldown on Milord. And the healing with flashlights is just not going to be enough. Has to use all the holy power just for self-heals. Hand of Freedom available. If you can just get some kind of holy power while not getting touched by Rouser, that'll be the most optimal scenario. And Rouser's camera is kind of bugged right now. Hodge and Rouser does human racial out of it. Milord does have a Blessing of Protection. Will be able to use it here. Mystic Fears are flying. Does he have Blessing of Protection right now? He needs it immediately. It looks like Touch of Death comes out before he can really do much about it. Incapped by Asshammer as he goes in for a leg soup into Rouser. Weapons of Warder, but that's going to be a very DR leg soup. Does he have enough damage to get Rouser low enough? Karma coming out for Rouser. Asshammer goes in for a Karma. Your name is very, very unfortunate, my friend. Asshammer, and she'd be able to do it. Man, we had one person bail on team 1. Super unfortunate. But Milord Pala hung in there, though, against rogues. Look at that healing, dude. Actually just had to out-heal the rogue the whole fight. That's the only way he's going to be able to do much.